Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to unpack fascinating ideas, and, well, today we have a really unique one.
We certainly do.
We're taking a journey sort of to a country that really redefined what progress actually means. We're diving deep into Bhutan's gross national happiness, GNH, they call it,
Right, GNH.
and how it stands as this profound alternative to the usual yardstick, gross domestic product, GDP.
The one most of the world uses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our mission today, it's really to understand what GNH is.
Okay.
And, why Bhutan's fourth king, Jigme Singye Langchuk, made that famous declaration.
The GNH is more important than GDP line.
That's the one. What did that actually mean?
Yeah.
For a whole country, for its people.
It was pretty revolutionary.
It really was. Bhutan was the first nation, the very first, to officially swap GDP out for this broader, more human approach.
People-focused goal, yeah.
So the big question is, what does it mean for a country to put well-being ahead of just, economic numbers?
And what can we learn from it?
What can we learn?
Yeah.
It definitely makes you stop and think. Okay, let's unpack this.
All right. So most people, they get GDP, gross domestic product.
Like the standard scorecard.
Yeah, it's the total value of everything produced, goods, services, all that, measures economic
The
performance.
standard stuff.
But Bhutan looked at that and thought, hang on, this doesn't really tell the whole story.
It's missing something crucial.
A lot, actually. And that's where GNH comes in. It's their national philosophy, really.
A philosophy.
Yeah. But when they measure, it looks at the collective happiness, the well-being of everyone, not just economic growth. It's a completely different lens to look through.
That's a huge difference. GDP is about the money changing hands.
Pretty much.
Well, GNH is about, the quality of life, the richness of experience.
Exactly. So what did they find lacking in GDP? Why make such a fundamental shift?
That's the key question, isn't it? What was so wrong with the standard way?
Well, the research points to a few really critical things. First off, and this is maybe the biggest one, GDP just ignores happiness.
Ignores it completely.
Yeah. A country's economy could be booming, right? GDP figures look great.
Headlines cheering.
But if people are stressed, unhealthy, lonely, GDP doesn't see that. It misses things like peace of mind, good relationships, strong communities.
That feels like a massive blind spot. You could have a country that looks rich on paper.
But is actually quite poor in human terms.
And that connects to another point, right? The inequality issue.
Absolutely. That's the second major flaw they saw. GDP ignores inequality.
So the total number goes up, but maybe only for a few people at the top.
Precisely. GDP growth doesn't mean everyone's better off. Wealth can get concentrated,
Leaving lots of people behind.
Yeah, potentially in poverty. And the GDP number itself, it just doesn't show you that gap, that disparity.
Okay, so it misses happiness, misses inequality.
Right.
What else?
Well, think about Bhutan. The environment is incredibly important to them.
Right, their identity is tied to it.
Deeply. And more GDP often means, well, more industry, more production.
More pollution.
Often, yes. More environmental strain. Bhutan looked at and said, no, that's not the path we want.
They wanted sustainable growth.
Exactly. GNH builds that right in. It's about balancing economic needs with protecting their natural world, not sacrificing forests for factories, essentially.
That makes sense. And there was something about culture, too.
Yes, that's the final big piece. GDP ignores culture and values.
How so?
Well, Bhutan is fiercely protective of its unique culture, its language, its traditions. These are fundamental to who they are, to their well-being.
And GDP just can't put a price tag on that.
Exactly. It has no way to measure or value those non-material things that make a society rich in a different way. It shows the limits of a purely economic view.
Okay, so it's really clear why GDP wasn't cutting it for Bhutan. It misses happiness, inequality, environment, culture, huge parts of life.
Right.
But then, how do you measure something like national happiness? It sounds so intangible.
It does, but they've actually developed a pretty sophisticated framework. It's not just a vague idea.
Okay, so how does it work?
GNH uses 9 core domains. Think of them as the key areas of life.
9 domains, like what?
So there's psychological well-being, things like life satisfaction, positive emotions, spirituality.
Okay, actual feelings.
Yeah. Then health, education, and interestingly, time use, how people spend their time, work-life balance.
Time use. That's unusual.
It is, but crucial for well-being, right?
Right.
Then you have cultural diversity and resilience, good governance,
Governance, okay.
community vitality like social connections, safety, ecological diversity and resilience, the environment part. And finally, living standards, which includes income, housing, assets.
So economics is still in there, but it's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle.
Exactly. Living standards is one of the 9 domains, and these 9 domains are broken down even further into 33 specific indicators.
33 indicators, so it gets quite detailed.
Oh, yeah. It moves GNH from just a philosophy to a practical tool for policymaking. It's holistic, balancing everything.
That's fascinating. So with this whole system in place, 9 domains, 33 indicators, what's the impact been? Has it actually worked on the ground?
Well, the results are pretty remarkable, actually.
Yeah, tell us.
For starters, Bhutan is one of the only carbon-negative countries in the world.
Carbon negative, wow. Not just neutral, but negative.
Negative. They absorb more carbon than they emit, and that's not an accident.
Stems from GNH.
Directly. Their constitution, driven by GNH principles like ecological diversity, mandates that at least 60% of the country must remain under forest cover. It's currently over 70%.
So that policy is a direct result of prioritizing the environment within their happiness framework.
Absolutely. A well-being metric led to a world-leading environmental outcome, not an economic one.
That's incredible. In a world grappling with climate change, that's huge. What else?
Well, think about the social side. Education and healthcare are completely free for all citizens.
Free, funded by the state.
Yes. Again, a direct consequence of prioritizing the health and education domains within GNH.
So they're investing in their people's well-being directly.
And there's something else really encouraging, how they make decisions. Major projects like, say, building a new road or allowing a new industry, they don't just look at the economic cost benefit, they have to pass a GNH screening.
A GNH screening, what does that involve?
It means they assess the project's potential impact across all 9 domains. Will it harm the environment? Will it weaken community bonds? Will it add stress, hurting psychological well-being?
So they're forced to think long-term and holistically about any development.
Exactly. It prevents chasing economic gain if it comes at too high a cost in other areas of life. GDP just doesn't make you do that kind of thinking.
That screening process sounds like a real game changer. It embeds the philosophy right into daily governance.
It does. And, the results seem to bear it out in other ways, too. Bhutan often ranks surprisingly high in global happiness surveys.
Higher than many much wealthier nations, right?
Yeah. Often, yes. Which kind of reinforces their point that money isn't the only thing, or even the main thing, contributing to a good life.
So wrapping this up, the core insight here seems to be,
I think it's that Bhutan made a conscious choice. They decided that the real goal, the true purpose of development, isn't just accumulating wealth.
that's something else.
It's about creating a society where people can genuinely flourish, happy, peaceful, living in balance with nature and each other. It's a fundamental shift in defining national success.
A shift away from just more towards better. It really does make Bhutan a fascinating example for the rest of the world.
A model, perhaps, showing that progress doesn't have to be solely about the economy.
It can be about meaningful, joyful living, quality over quantity, in a way.
Well put.
It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? As you reflect on Bhutan's approach, what aspects of meaningful and joyful living do you think our standard economic indicators, like GDP, miss the most in our own societies? Something to ponder. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and join us next time for another deep dive.